Now, the Effutu Municipal Assembly in Winneba says it is now dumping untreated fecal waste on farms. The assembly also dumps some of the waste in bushes along the Accra-Cape Coast Highway. This is because the municipality does not have a sewage system. JoyNews' Maxwell Agbagba has been following the story and reports officials believe the practice is common across the country.
After using the WC, I don't know where it ends. All I know is when it's full, they come for it then. That's all. I don't know where it's been dumped. So if it's been dumped in the bush, then there's no reason for me doing it in the house. I think I should just go directly and do that there.
A place Sikeni Takradi. We have a place called Injensia, and then we have some sea over there. That's the place that they throw the waste into.
Some residents of Winneba sharing their thoughts on where they think is the final disposal site for what they leave behind when they visit their water closet.
Here in the bush around Winneba Junction, I'm told, directly opposite the Driver Vehicle and Licensing Authority office here. Well, what is happening behind me is a cesspit, truck dislodging its content here inside this bush. It's just about 100 meters away from the main Accra-Cape Coast Road, and this is where Effutu Municipal Assembly usually dump their liquid fecal matter. Yes, right here.
Chief Executive Officer of the Effutu Municipal Assembly, Alfred Ninsen, says the Assembly has stopped dumping liquid waste into the sea. They do not have anywhere to dump it now. Farms and the land along the Accra-Cape Coast Highway have become the final disposal sites for the Assembly. He is aware of the environmental pollution, but says they do not have any alternative.
All the MMDAs, they have a difficulty in disposing of this liquid waste. Effutu, it has been the practice that we dump into the sea. Now we are dumping into farms, open lands for farming as a manure. So that's what we've been doing. And not that we are directly dumping onto plants and seeds. No, we are very comfortable doing that. But our monitors every quarter we are monitored from our region, Cape Coast, coming to look at the way we dispose of our liquid waste, especially liquid waste and other solid waste. So the advice that what the practice is not very good. Hygienically, it's not very good. So we should rather find a better way of disposing them. Even though the farmers are demanding for it on the open spaces for them to have their plants, the advice is that we should try and seize that. The area is near our artisan village. We are trying to build up artisan village. Once the liquid is dumped there, the stench that comes out of it, it's also worry to the people, and then people around surrounding villages, they complain. So it's better for us to have a treatment plant. But
I've now met the environmental health officer of the Effutu Municipal Assembly, Juliana Nati. She says haphazard dumping of liquid waste has serious health implications.
There are so many health implications about dumping the liquid waste there. In the first place, we don't know where some people might fetch their water. Some of these villages, maybe they depend on some streams and rivers. So when you dump this waste there, you don't know where it will wash this waste and then dump it into the drinking water of some people. And they can easily get cholera, typhoid, and all those diarrhea diseases. So those are some of the diseases that we can get from dumping liquid waste haphazardly. It must be treated. If it is well treated and it has been washed to any stream or river body, there is no problem with that.
The story is quite different at Tamale. Here, A truck is discharging liquid waste into a waste stabilization pond very close to a landfill site.
From afar, they look like fish ponds, but no, when you get closer, is what a layman would best describe as an SHIT pond. These serve as a fecal treatment plant for residents of the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly.
Waste stabilization ponds are designed for the treatment of liquid waste. The 7 fecal ponds serve as the final disposal site for human excreta from Tamale. Plastic bags from an adjoining landfill site have littered the brownish black looking ponds. Some cattle are also strolling very close to it. I've met the assemblyman for the Kula Balahi electoral area, Al-Hassan Seidu. He says sometimes the liquid waste does not end up at the site. Some farmers contract drivers to dump the untreated waste on their farms.
Whenever it rains heavily, the water overflows to our sources, I think, and that is the only sources that we have in our communities. We don't have pipe-borne water. We have only a dam water. And when it comes like that, all the water is going to be polluted.
Public Relations Officer of the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly says there are plans for rehabilitation of the waste stabilization ponds to address concerns.
And so, again, we have been lucky under the project to have been supported to put in place measures to rehabilitate the stabilization ponds. A few weeks ago, we had an intensive workshop which brought together key stakeholders in waste management, especially in the liquid waste, to brainstorm on how together we can pool our ideas together and see how we can make the stabilization pond not just conducive for management, but also economically viable, in the sense that we are looking at the end of the day, making sure that we can even, engage in some fish farming in a kind of a PPP with interested people. And so we have put in motion to redesign the pond, the stabilization pond. And I can assure you that by June, we will be having consultants on the project. The head of the waste management department has put in place some measures to ensure that we track down or we track and actually arrest these recalcitrant septic MTS operators who are usually in the habit of dumping the liquid waste on the farms of people. Now, we have been told that the farmers who request for these
Well, let's get on the phone lines now and speak to water, sanitation and hygiene expert, a member of the coalition in NGOs Water and Sanitation, Patrick Apoya. Mr. Apoya, thanks for your time this afternoon. What's your assessment of the situation so far? Fecal matter not ending up at treatment plants but in the bush.
It's a very difficult and pathetic issue. If it was just an isolated case of one district or two districts or three districts, you could say, okay, there's going to be a solution. But since independence, traditionally, we have not thought of getting treatment facilities for districts. Besides Accra, Tama, Secretariat Takoradi, Tamale, and Kumasi, no single district in Ghana has a form of treatment for liquid waste. People just select an area that they dump it. You've already heard about the health implications. Now, the health implications, people have thought about just the water pollution. But in actual fact, soil pollution is even is as serious as the water pollution. Because helminth infections have become a very severe health problem now. The Ghana Health Service, in the last 5 years, started heavy deworming programs in schools. When you have a situation where you are not treating your liquid waste and you are dumping them, it's not only contamination of the drinking water, but also the contamination of even the soil, environmental contamination. Now, imagine a district, on a daily basis, you are discharging at least 4 or 5 trucks of fecal sludge in the open. In the case of Tamale, farmers actually pay money for you to come and dump it in your farm for you. For them, they're looking at it as manure. But the public health authorities ought to have a way of ensuring that it is treated before it can be sent for reuse. Reuse is a good thing, but you cannot give something which is unsafe for human consumption to be reused on farms. So for us as Cornwalls, we think that a breakdown of national systems, there's a breakdown of governance, and there's no form of accountability at all that our public authorities are rendering to Ghanaians. But let's also accept that the case of liquid waste treatment may be too big for individual districts to be able to finance. This has to be financed through central government facilitation. And even if EPA, which is supposed to be supervising and controlling the environment, cannot do anything about it, then where is the accountability of our institutions to citizens? There's no way any private person would have done that without being shut down by EPA. But you can even imagine when Accra was also dumping in the sea, the Lavender Hill.
Yeah.
It took EPA over so many years to gather the courage to tell AMA to stop. And they didn't stop. It was only when a citizen went to court that it was infringing on human dignity that the court then ordered AMA to stop dumping in the sea at Lavender Hill.
So in a
woke up and started looking for solutions.
So in a situation like this, where it's not an individual or a private organization doing this, such that the state institutions can walk in on them, it happens to be the state institutions themselves that are doing this. Is there something that organizations like Cornwalls can do about it?
Yes, Cornwalls will be failing the people if they cannot protect citizens who individually cannot fight for themselves. Cornwalls recognizes the constraint that individual assemblies will have to resolve the problem, but it doesn't take EPA away from its role of ensuring that the right thing is done. Even if what Cornwalls says is, put a plan on the table to show that we know we don't have money now, but this is the plan for us to be able to solve the problem. And unless we have that kind of assurance from our authorities, I don't think the people of Ghana are fairly treated. So it is building voices together, highlighting the issue as you are doing right now, and bringing the public health risks that our citizens are being exposed to bear. That can culminate into the kind of pressure that usually will compel our public officers
to do the right thing. You indicated earlier that this fecal sludge can be treated so that it can be reused. Is this an idea you'd like to sell to, for example, the Effutu municipality?
Yes, if you come to Ashama, for instance, NGOs have tried to do things to show that this things work. If you go to Ashama, for instance, the only waste to energy solution that we have in the country today is based on fecal sludge and a little bit of solid waste that they are composting in a biogas system. The system is producing about 2 megawatts of power to feed into the national grid, and they get compost that they sell. I have personally bought compost from that facility to my farm. I have personally bought, not just one bag, over 100 bags. Now, if we are certain that we don't have electricity, we don't have fertilizer, it is not difficult to do. I think it's just the will to be able to partner and get the right partners together, and it can be done. Reuse is very possible, and that is what the whole world is preaching. A circular economy that just keeps moving resources from human beings to the soil and back to human beings. With the 2 megawatts that I talked about, it can power the whole of Effutu without any need for any power from another source. So it is something that people need to take interest in. The Ashama plant I mentioned was actually done by a Dutch NGO called Capitana. Cornwalls was part of the stakeholders that facilitated that plant to be put there as a demonstration case. But it's like nobody is paying attention to the possibilities that abound.
With this fecal matter.
Problem, but they are solving 2 or 3 problems. You are doing something on agriculture, you are doing an energy crisis, you are solving an energy problem, and you are creating a safe environment for our citizens. This is all that Cornwalls is calling for.
Mr. Apoya, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Patrick Apoya, the water, sanitation, energy expert there.